I on? Good morning. Good morning, everybody. So, first off, thanks for having me. I missed most of yesterday, but I heard it was great. I hope you also thought it was great. And first thing when you do in the morning is we have to do one of those really bad icebreakers that you guys all dread when you come to a conference. So I'm going to ask you guys to stand up for me, because I know you hate more than anything else being forced to stand up at a conference. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to stay standing. Stay standing if your business, you take a guest order with one-to-one interaction, if you actually deal with another person, stay standing. Stay standing if you do online ordering. Once you start sitting down, if I bring up something else that you do, you can raise your hand so you get acknowledged for having it. Stay standing if you offer delivery or work with delivery. Stay standing if you do catering. Stay standing if you have self-ordering kiosks. Keep those hands up if you have sat down and you offer it. How about you have a loyalty or rewards program? Do you have a non-traditional location? Are you in an airport, college campus, sports stadium, food service? It's amazing how many people are still standing. Look at all this business that they offer. Do you offer or host a virtual brand? We're dwindling down now. We're dwindling down. I see 2, 3 people maybe. How about do you have a food truck? Do you have CPG, consumer packaged goods, or work with grocery? E-commerce, are you on Amazon, Goldbelly, Walmart.com? Wow, I'm losing everybody. I'm guessing the people in the back of the room are holding up the wall and not still standing. How about are you in Web3? Do you offer NFTs or digital collectibles? No hands, nobody. How about hot food vending machines? Anybody of that? Sam and I had this deal that if anybody was still standing, by the way, I'm still standing, that if anyone else was still standing, I had a $100 bill for you. So I'm sorry that you're not still standing. But the talk we're going to do today is about all the different ways that Wow Bao does business. And everything on this list is something that we are involved in currently and do. So that's going to be the premise for the talk. And they're walking around. We had Wow Bao brought in. My team came in 2 days ago and taught the staff here how to cook it. Hopefully they did a good job and you guys enjoy as they're passing it around. And awesome. I'll pass it over to Sam to start asking questions.
Awesome. Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. I will say that this session is a highlight for me personally. Geoff has worked with lettuce for 30 years. So congratulations, Geoff.
Yes,
and
30 years.
Give a round of applause for Geoff, 30 years, and bringing Wow Bao in this morning. And I think I've known Geoff now over 20 years. We've done some really neat things together. I have volunteered Geoff for many things in the industry, and he's always said yes. He is a true ambassador to our business, a thought leader, but most importantly, Geoff is a friend, so I'm very excited to be able to do this fireside chat this morning with Geoff.
I feel really bad for these people, so I'm just going to turn my chair a little bit.
Okay.
Because I totally feel like you're not getting the full view of me. I spent hours this morning doing my hair, so you should at least be able to see it. Sam did not. He put a hat on.
I did. This session is sponsored by Branded Hospitality. I'm channeling my inner Jimmy, so I have my readers on and my hat and my sport coat. So I'm ready to go. If Rev, you could take a picture and send it to Jimmy, because we miss him today. But more importantly, getting to Geoff, I wanted to do something a little different. Geoff has been such a great thought leader in sharing things that are going on at Wow Bao, and we're going to get to the innovation and the Omni-Channel. But I wanted to take this conversation back, because a lot of folks will talk about Geoff and the success, but don't really remember the start and when he got into Wow Bao and some of the challenges he had and how he overcame and really was thinking about technology back in the day. So, Geoff, let's go back in history to 2009 and kind of start there when you decided to take the opportunity to come on to Wow Bao.
So I was running another concept within lettuce. It was 2007. We opened that restaurant and we got it off the ground and it was going. And Wow Bao started in 2003. And there's always an operating partner and generally a chef partner. By the way, they have different flavors of bao. You read the paper on the bottom. There's teriyaki chicken, there's egg, there's apple, there's coconut. So if you don't like the flavor you got, there's other flavors. but I know you like all the flavors. So there's an operating partner and a chef partner, and Wow Bao had turned over its second operating partner. And the chef partner and I had worked together for years, and he said, you need to come and take over Wow Bao and work with me because we're gonna grow thousands of these restaurants. And I'll be very frank, Wow Bao was 6 years old. I had never eaten it before. But I said, sure, let's go do this. It sounds exciting. And I went to Rich Melman, our founder of the company, and I said, Rich, I'd like to take Wow Bao. And he said, you shouldn't do it. He said, you can, but I don't think you should. And it's interesting when the founder of your company and your mentor tells you you shouldn't do something. So when I look back in my career and I look at what's happened since 2009 for Let Us Entertain You, all the restaurants they've opened, the growth, I always wonder where my career would have gone and what I would have been part of. But I said, no, I want to take it, let's go. And I took it over in 2009, and within like 2 months, I met with Kevin Brown, the CEO of Lettuce. Kevin actually hired me out of college, and I worked with him my whole career. And I said, wow, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. And he said, you probably should have looked at the financials and understood the brand before you said you wanted to take this on. So now I had this company, 3 stores at the time, that wasn't performing. Although the chef partner's like, we're gonna do thousands of these, that's not how Let Us Entertain You works. Let Us Entertain You is a privately held restaurant group that only has so much capital. And at the time, I think there were 66 partners or 62 partners. I think we're up to 74 now. And everybody wants capital. Everybody wants to grow. So how do you grow without capital? That became my problem. Now I have these 3 stores that, quite frankly, were not performing. We were losing money, and I had no access to capital, and I had never eaten the food before, and now I was in charge of this. And through that, over time, is where all these different ideas have come through.
I'm sure folks in this room understand lack of access to capital. There wasn't a giant piggy bank that you could go to and withdraw from. Rich wasn't opening the books for you.
No, it's not fun. And Let Us Entertain You, everyone, it's a cachet, right? I mean, we're a great company. We're financially sound, but it doesn't work that way. We as a privately held company, there's only so much money. And Rich wants to go do this concept, and we build big restaurants. They cost a lot of money. And if you want to go open 3 or 4 restaurants this year, that could cost a significant amount of money. So there's not money to go around. And then when another partner who's been waiting 15 years for restaurant number 2 wants to go, and I want to go open restaurant number 4, well, who gets the money? So we had to come up with ideas on how to grow. And I'll talk about the food truck as an example. We had a commissary van. We used to make food at one location and drive it to the other 2. And it was being driven in my chef partner's Lexus SUV, right? And he went on vacation. And I said, how are we gonna take the food around? And he said, well, put it in your car. I said, there's no way I'm putting the food in my car. So I went out and bought a van. And we had this van, and the van sat in a garage for 23 hours a day. So at the time, this is 2010, you could not cook food on food trucks in Chicago. The ordinance wasn't there yet. So we put a hot box in the van. It was like a roach coach, if you guys know at construction sites, right? We put this hot box in there. We make the food in the restaurant, throw it in the hot box. We drive around to college campuses or hospitals, and we'd sell out of the hot box. And then we put a cooler in there, and we were selling bottled drinks. Then we put a coffee dispenser, right? And we filled it up with our broth so we could do soup. And we would drive around, 3 hours, and all of a sudden we started gaining a following. We went on Twitter, this is where the truck's gonna be. So we had to create business. And that's how the food truck started. In 2010, we had online ordering. I know you're all like, online ordering, who cares? But in 2010, nobody did online ordering, guys. In fact, in 2010, we had an app in the App Store. There were 300,000 apps at the time, right? There's 6 billion now or whatever. But Kevin Brown came to me and was like, you need to do online ordering. And I said, why would I do online ordering? It's 56 seconds from the time you order your food to you get your food. Who's gonna order ahead? It made no sense to me. So, but I grew up in New York City, and I wanted to do delivery, bicycle delivery. And in New York, there was this thing that you would joke, right? If you didn't like the kid, you would send like 10 pizzas to their house because everyone had to then pay the delivery driver. It was like, Sorry, we're New Yorkers, I guess. No one else can relate to that. But it's what you did. And I didn't want that to happen. I didn't want the delivery driver, us to show up and people didn't want their food and we weren't going to get paid. So by doing online ordering, I could collect the payment, right? I got their credit card ahead of time. And that's why we turned on online ordering in 2010. We were one of the first to do it. In fact, I'm going to give a shout out to Toda right here in the front row. If you don't know him, he was like the guy who launched Foursquare back in the day in Chicago, and we did a lot of work together to get the name of Wow Bao out there. It was all about building a brand and a name. And we did a lot of crazy stuff in the day.
You know, let's take a moment there because we're going to get into the technology piece. But what were some of those street tactics that you were doing?
You know, there's a story out there that in the first year that Wow Bao launched in 2003, that Rich Melman gave away 50,000 bao. I don't know the number. I don't know the truth behind it. But we always believe it's about the product. Get the product in people's hands, and they'll love the product. In I think it was 2011 maybe. In 2010, maybe 2011, Lollapalooza was becoming big in Chicago. And at the time, Graham Elliott was put in charge of the food. And Graham Elliott, for those of you who don't know, he was a judge on Top Chef, and he had another food show, and he was a very talented chef here in Chicago. And by putting his name on it, it elevated the food. So we decided we wanted to join Lollapalooza, but we'll wait 1 year to see if he screws it up or not. So the next year we did Lollapalooza. Lollapalooza is a 100,000 person a day music festival in Chicago for 3 days. It's now grown to 4 days. And we had no idea what we were doing. We had no clue. The volume, the people, how we're going to do it. We built it. We had an idea, but it was a madhouse. We ran out of food at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and once you run out of food, you never catch up. But what happened was nobody knew what they were eating. The next year we came back at Lala. We've learned from all of our mistakes. We knocked it out of the park. We did all this great business. And everyone's like, I'm so glad you're back. This was my favorite thing here the year before. And when you learn that it's all about the food, right? That's what you're doing in this industry. It's about the food. You find ways to get food into people's hands. So when you talk about street tactics, I had a company that we were working with, again in 2010. It's called Mocha Pay. I did a lot with startups, and none of them exist anymore, just so you know that. Our online ordering was Exit 41. They don't exist anymore. So Mocha Pay had a way of doing, anyone do SMS texting to people? Okay, so we had an SMS texting platform, and we would send out a note every week, come in for a free whatever. What would happen was people would forward it to all their friends, right? And they'd come in 5 times a week for it. Drove me bananas. So Mocha Pay created this thing where it became a one-time use code. So when you come in, you turn the code on, we type the code in the computer, the code is done, and you can't use it again. You can't share it with your friends. And overnight, like our text-based platform grew like quadrupled or 5x'd because everyone wanted to have the product now. Well, then they started a thing for me that they made exclusively for us where I could meet you on the street. And if you gave me your cell phone number, I could text money to your phone. Any increment I wanted up to 25 bucks. And when you come in with that code, it would deduct the money. So if I gave you 25 bucks, next time you have 19, right? It was like a debit card on your phone. This is 2010, guys. I haven't even seen this technology today. I mean, I guess it's Venmo maybe, right? But so when I met you on the street and no one knew what Wow Bao was, and I came from high-end restaurants in Lettuce. I mean, it was glamorous. The people that ate at my restaurants, everyone wanted my name and phone number. They wanted reservations. And now I was running Wow Bao that no one ever heard of. So it was all about how do you get food in people's hands. I used to walk around my car, my briefcase, every coat pocket, every pant pocket, my wife, everything she carried. We carried gift cards. Oh, you never heard of it here. Go try it out. I mean, it was just, you know, a feeding frenzy.
And I think there was one part of the story when you were going to the supermarkets first. And you told me how you walked in and just asked, please.
We had freezer cases in our 3 restaurants that we would sell our product. Our product is manufactured for us. So the same product that we serve, we also just put in CPG, consumer packaged good boxes. And we had freezer cases in our restaurants. And it just sat there all day long. And rarely would someone actually open a freezer case. So I took the boxes. My wife grew up in the suburbs here of Illinois, of Chicago, and there's a gourmet grocery store chain called Sunset Foods. And if you're from any of the suburbs, there's a Sunset, you are diehard loyal to Sunset Foods. So to me, when I was wooing my wife, right, like you always want to keep your wife happy, it was all about how do I get my product into Sunset Foods. Like that was the grand slam, right? And I walked into Sunset Foods. I was like, will you carry my product? And I walked into my local jewel store down the block and just said, will you carry this product? And I literally did that with 20 different grocery stores. And somehow I got 20 grocery stores to sell the product. Then, somebody called us up and like, hey, I was distributing product. I saw your product. I asked you to distribute it. They said that you were driving it up yourself. We want to handle it. And all of a sudden we had a distributor and we started to grow.
So as you can all see, we're building the timeline here. So 10 desktop ordering. We go to 13 with Mocha Pay. Jeff's taken risks on startup companies to use the technology to advance it because he's seeing the long-term vision. And then what happens in 15, Geoff?
What happens in 15? We talking colleges?
No, we're talking third-party delivery.
Third-party delivery, okay.
Because you were number what?
Thank you. I believe we were the third restaurant in Chicago to partner with Uber Eats and DoorDash. So again, we're doing bicycle delivery, right? We started this in 2010. So for 5 years, we've been doing bicycle delivery. And we're getting a good delivery business. And we're getting a good catering business. And by the way, we didn't do any of the delivery, right? We found bicycle messenger services, and they had car messenger services, so they were driving our product everywhere. So we already had delivery built into what we were doing, right? We had orders coming in from our online ordering right into our KDS. We had the whole system. Our food was good. It worked well. So when Uber and DoorDash entered the market, because we were already doing delivery, they came to us and said, will you work with us? Sure. I mean, it was just more business, right? Like, you're going to get me delivery orders and take a percentage. I don't have to do anything, and orders are going to show up on my screen. Like, let's go. I love sales. So, yeah, we were the third company, I think, in Chicago to turn these people on.
And then you make the big move and go cross-country in 17 to cloud kitchens.
Yeah, so in 2017, private equity got involved. I found a private equity group. I'm going to backstory here a little bit. So, Wow Bao wasn't growing, right? I couldn't get any money. I'd opened up a fourth store. We might have opened our fifth by then. But it's now been 09 to 16, and we've opened 2 stores, right? Remember, I was told we were going to open thousands of these things. And I'm killing myself with Lollapalooza and the grocery and the delivery. By the way, it was me and 2 other people. I had a right-hand person. Her name was Erin. She was fantastic. And I had a guy named Danny. Danny was the all-around guy. Everybody have an all-around guy on your team? If you don't have an all-around guy on your team, get an all-around guy on your team. This guy, like, blood, sweat, and tears for us. But we weren't growing, and I was frustrated, so I went out to interview for another job, different company. And I met Valor Equity Partners, Antonio Gracias and John Shulkin, through a friend. I thought they were looking for a food person to join their group. I think they were just being courtesy and meeting me. And Antonio, smartest man I'll ever be in a room with and incredibly intimidating, is telling me who they are, and in 45 seconds of meeting him, I say, you should buy Wow Bao. And they stood up from the table, and we went to Wow Bao, and that was it. They got it. But it took 16 months for the deal to happen. So we sold to Valor a majority stake. Lettuce is still involved, in June 1st, 2017. June 1st. Labor Day, which is September 4th, 5th, 6th, depending on the year, we opened in LA inside of Cloud Kitchens. So within 3 months of the deal happening, we opened up on the other side of the country. For $30,000, we entered the LA market, arguably the top 3 markets, one of the top 3 markets in the country, doing delivery only out of Cloud Kitchens. And that was our first real foray into virtual space. This is 2017.
And also, was 17 also the year that you introduced lockers?
So Valor, of course, now you're private equity, you have to grow. And look at me, I'm finally growing, right? We got capital, we got people who want to grow and do things. They had connections and ideas. And with their partnership, there was a group out in San Francisco called EATSA, E-A-T-S-A. I think they opened like 2015 or 16. I remember when they launched, like the next day I flew to San Francisco to see what it was all about. It was ordering off of a device, and they had a wall of cubbies. And the cubbies were animated, and they had your name would show up on the cubby when your food was ready, and it was revolutionary. It was the coolest thing I had ever seen. Lo and behold, Valor's an investor in EATSA. So we partner with them to use their technology, and we ended up in 2017, again, June 1st, we do the deal. I think it was December 5th or December 8th. We opened in Chicago with a fully automated restaurant where no human interaction. There was one employee behind the wall of cubbies who made your food. You walk in, you order, and all of a sudden your name would show up on a cubby. You open the cubby door, and out came your food. Again, revolutionary. You fast forward to right now, anyone here at Brooklyn Dumpling Shop out of New York? They're doing this technology now, different company they're working with. And it kills me. Stratus is a very nice guy doing unbelievable stuff, but he is on every press piece. Every day you open something up about these lockers, these cubbies, and what he's doing, and we did it 6 years ago, and nobody gave us any recognition for it.
Yeah, I remember those days. We'd come down and get Wow Bao, and then you also had like a concierge person that if somebody struggled would come out to meet them because people weren't used to using devices like that.
Anyone knows what a Gap is, I don't think Gap exists anymore, but they used to have a greeter out front, right? Right when you walked in the store, someone just stood there and said hi and goodbye, right? I mean, it was hospitality at its finest. So we put a person, we called him a concierge, at the front of the restaurant to be there to say hello and goodbye and thank you, and then answer questions if you had no idea what you were doing. I mean, Chicago is, a destination, and there are people coming from all over the world who never saw technology like this. So we ended up needing that person. Cost a lot of money to have that person stand there and do nothing all day, but it was important for the brand.
Now, 17 is about the time you've launched desktop ordering. You've got SMS texting with Mocha Pay. You're going into cloud kitchens before there were cloud kitchens, right? You're really pioneering this, right? You hit the cubbies, and then is that the moment when CPG really starts to come to you and looking at that as the vision?
I think that what happened at that point, right around that time, it was 2016, 2017, somehow, so we were in, I think it was like 20 Jewels. Jewel is a local grocery store here. There's 186 of them. And their parent company is Albertsons, which owns like 3,500 grocery stores. So we're in like 20 Jewels, and every week, Danny, again, my all-around guy, is at one of these Jewels doing sampling. And I'm there too, every week. We're, Sunday nights and Monday, 2 best days to ever sample in a grocery store if you ever get involved with the space. And, so every day you're working, and then every night you're at a grocery store giving away product to go. And I've been chasing the head of purchasing for Jewel now for 3 years. Like, give me more stores. Why won't you give me more stores? And he just kept saying, we're going to watch, you're doing great with your 12 stores, whatever it may be. And it was unbelievable. And then another distributor came to us, and they wanted to steal the business from the first distributor. I don't do business like that. I'm a loyal guy. But this distributor could get me all 186 Jewels. So I went back to my first distributor, and I said, here's the deal. Can you do this? And they said, no, they couldn't. But they understood why I took on the second. So now I had 2 distributors. I had one doing the Sunset Foods, and we brought on Mariano's. Mariano's is part of Kroger. There's 42 of them here in Chicago. So they had those 42 or 50 total stores, and now this distributor came along and could take us to 186. So it wasn't so much about us chasing the business. It was more about we had solidified what we were doing, and we had proven ourselves, and people are now starting to seek us out. And that's sort of a lot of the success we've had. A lot of the stuff we've done over time has been early adopting to technology. And if you're an early adopter to technology, what happens is more technology searches you out. So people started calling up saying, can we work with you? Can you do this? We want to try this. Will you give us feedback on that? And what I think is fantastic is if you can get to that point, you can help write the narrative. What I say a lot is restaurant technology is not built by restaurant people. No disrespect to people in the room, but you're not restaurant people. And I have to change my business to fit your technology, and it drives me bonkers that I have to do that, or we have to do that. But at our stage, because we've done so much with technology, we're able to give feedback to those technology people, and then they're adapting and making it work the way it should work. So
as you're seeing the future, you're in CPG. Now we're coming into 22, and you're starting to look at vending machines. So what year did you start looking at this vending machine concept?
So vending machines has been a dream of mine for like 9 years. And we actually found a great vending machine out of San Francisco about 7 years ago. Unbelievable guys, unbelievable product, everything was great. And like all startups, they fell apart. We never got to do business with them. They couldn't pull it off. So we've always been looking for this. So fast forward to 2022, and we haven't talked about it yet, but the virtual restaurants we're doing, we have our product in distribution around the country. And we found, and the deal that we have is all distributors, it's proprietary. You can't just order Wow Bao and start putting it on your menu. We have to approve who can buy the product. And we found like some Cisco house was selling it randomly. So we shut it down. And like 2 days later, we get an email from on our, contact us email. I've been buying your product for months in our vending machines. It's our #1 seller. We need to buy your product again. So it was like total like luck of the draw that because we locked down the product, it turns out somebody had our food in a vending machine that we didn't even know about. So we flew down to Sarasota, Florida, met with the team. Their machines are great. Our product worked great in it, and we were able to start partnering with them. Now I think we have about 40 machines that are deployed across the country.
Now, one of the things that you did uniquely, and I remember sitting at the National Restaurant Association Fast Casual Council when you had the idea of partnering with dark restaurants and creating this whole deal. And I remember the response, and it wasn't very positive. And you said, you'll see one day, and here's what I'm going to do. And Geoff, I'm super proud to have witnessed the journey and your tenacity in doing it and the help you've given to restaurateurs, especially during COVID, to give them another opportunity to generate revenue, right? Because as we all know, revenue kills all problems. Talk a little bit about that innovation of when you designed that program.
So in November of 2019, John Shulkin, who's the chairman of Wow Bao, who's the #2 guy at Valor, and I were talking. And Valor has a number of restaurants under their portfolio, and Lettuce has a number of restaurants on their portfolio, and we're talking about what we want to do next. And you can ask him the story, and you can ask me the story. I'm going to tell you the real story. I said under my breath, why don't we just let the other restaurants sell our product delivery? Like, again, you got to remember, I met John, and under my breath, I was like, you should buy Wow Bao. Like, I have this habit of just sort of like, making digs, right? Like saying stuff without really thinking it through. And I said this to him, and he like stopped our meeting, and he's like, 100% we should do that. Now, his story is that it was his idea. And when I'm with him, I let him have that side of the story, but that's how it happened. And so this is November of 19, and I chair a CEO group of restaurant CEOs. And I started going to these guys, and some of them have 3 restaurants, some of them have 1,200, some of them 3,000 restaurants. And I have this idea. What do you think? And every single one of them said, I would never do that. There's no way I would ever do that. Don't even come to me with that idea. I've never put your food in my restaurant and sell it delivery. And then I went to a Lettuce partner meeting. And I went to the one partner I thought would do it, because he has restaurants in Vegas and DC. I was like, this would be great. Like, you could do this. He's like, I'm not interested. I want nothing to do with this. This is a stupid idea. And another partner at the table's like, what did you say? Tell me about it. And it's actually Shaw's Crab House here in Schaumburg, right? Because I didn't have a restaurant in the suburbs. Bill Nevers out here in Shaw's Schaumburg said, I'll try it. And I was like, thank you. So from November of 19 through, they launched in January 20, we built out supply chain, training materials, right? Marketing, what we were going to do, and he took it on. And he was our one test store. And what was great about it was local, right? We could drive over there, we could help teach, we could make sure the product was right. We were literally driving product over there. Didn't need to worry about distribution. And then in March of 20 or February of 20, we started talking to Reef Technologies. Different team, bless you. Different team was running Reef at the time. And we had to do their deal, not our deal, right? We had to conform to whatever they were doing. But whatever, like, we didn't have any of the partners, so we'll sign whatever you want us to sign. And then April came, or March 17th came, right? And the world shut down. And all of a sudden, the phone started ringing because we were able to help restaurants, right? You can only do delivery. There was no other way. There's no dining rooms. There was no way to communicate with people. And we gave everyone another revenue stream. And we just had this rocket ship launch of hockey stick growth that is really unprecedented in my mind about the position that we were in. And we've helped a lot of people. We've continued to help people. We have some partners here in the room. And then I go back to that CEO group of mine, where they're all like, no way. And at least 3 CEOs from that group are running our program.
And that is a factual story as I sat in the room and witnessed the entire conversation. And it is amazing today to see the growth and now how everybody talks about it and the innovation. So kudos to you for staying the course and seeing the vision.
And I appreciate that. Kudos to me. I want to be very clear. I am one guy, and I go back to 2016 where we did all these things, and it was me, Aaron, and Danny. It is not like that now. I have an unbelievable team. I give them all the. I am thrilled to be the guy to sit here, tell the story, be the face of the brand, get all the accolades, get beaten up by my investors about when I screw up. But it's the team that does the work. I mean, we have put together an unbelievable. Right now, I got my head of culinary and my head of supply chain are at McCormick Place. We're doing a KeHE, which is a grocery distributor show, which I'm going to after this, because we're trying to sell more groceries. They were out in Anaheim, California last week doing a deli show. We're in 1,000 sushi counters right now across the country selling our fresh product. We'll be in 1,500 sushi counters by the end of the summer. They were at that show last week. My business development person, I can't believe I have all these titles on my team, is at a college campus. AMAC, I think is what it's called, is at a show this weekend. It is on our way to Salt Lake City, where our next airport opens this fall. Kudos to Salt Lake City, by the way. First airport I ever know that's going to open early. I probably jinxed it, but that never happens.
Now, as you continue to grow, you're getting product, popularity is increasing, made some right moves. Now we're getting into the future. So your 23 play with e-commerce and the metaverse, where did that inspiration come from?
So you guys all know Goldbelly? All right, a couple of people know Goldbelly. Goldbelly is a website where you can basically order food from any known restaurant across the country delivered to you, FedExed, even though it doesn't come next day. I say that because people don't ship every day, right? It's usually on a schedule rotation. We've been doing Goldbelly for probably about 4 years, 5 years, give or take, because we have this product, and we get orders, and we throw it into boxes, and we ship it across the country. And my supply chain team, Brandon, who's unbelievable, got us on Amazon and Walmart.com in the last 6 months. So now you can go to Amazon and Walmart and Goldbelly and order the food. I will tell you that Walmart.com is the least expensive for all the same product. The reason why is they cover half your shipping. You don't know that, but they do that. We all like Amazon because we have Amazon Prime, right? So it's all free delivery, but it's $30 more expensive on Amazon. We partner with a company called eTailor. It is a company that we sell our product to, and then when all these orders come in, they send out all the orders. So we don't have to touch packaging anymore. We don't have to box anything up. We don't have to do anything. eTailor sends it out. So if you have interest in doing e-commerce, look up eTailor. Then we explored NFTs. And what happened with that was Valor also, again. I have the best private equity group. I hear a lot of stories or horror stories about private equity groups and demand and timetable, and I have had zero pressure about results, zero pressure on timelines. We're just doing great stuff. And they said to me, you need to look at NFTs. This is 1.5 years ago, and I don't know what NFTs are. And Itza, who did that Cubby technology for us in 2017, morphed itself into a company called Brightloom. They don't do the Cubbies anymore. The CEO of Brightloom, his name is Adam Brotman, genius. Adam created the flywheel on Starbucks' app. So all you guys who have Starbucks app on your phone, he created that. And he is sort of leading the charge in NFTs and understanding it and dictating in the way it goes. It's not his fault. NFTs got a bad rap, by the way. And we started talking to Adam again because we had a relationship because of the Cubbies. and we decided that we should get into the space. We're going to sell all these NFTs. We're going to make millions and millions of dollars. It's going to give us lots of press. It's going to keep us in the forefront of things. And then crypto fell apart. NFTs got a bad connotation. So we said, whoa, we can't do this. This isn't the right way to do it. So we pivoted from an NFT to what we call digital collectible. Same thing, different name, sounds a little better. And we created a membership program. So what happened was in March of 22, we wanted to grow delivery for our 700 virtual restaurants in the US and Canada. And you can't have a loyalty program on delivery because nobody's loyal on delivery, right? You open up your DoorDash app, you just pick whatever you're gonna eat. There's no loyalty. We want people to order from wowbao.com because we operate DoorDash storefront. If you order from wowbao.com, I collect customer data. If I get customer data, I can do better targeted marketing, right? I can interact with the consumer. I own the business. I also don't pay commissions to DoorDash. So we want everyone to go to wowbao.com. But nobody goes to wowbao.com. You all go to your apps. So we created a rewards program. We partner with Patronics. I know they're out of the show floor here, so shout out to that team. Where every dollar you spend on wowbao.com, you get a point. You spend $100, you get 7 points. You spend $100, you get 100 points. 100 points gets you $7. So basically, on a $25 check average, on your 5th order, you get 30% off. It's a pretty good deal. So we launched that in March of 2022 as a way to drive business off of the third-party platforms onto wowbao.com. Then Valor wanted us to do NFTs. And we looked at that and say, that's a way we can turn from a rewards program to a loyalty program. Now, I don't know about you, but loyalty and rewards are different in my eyes. And loyalty has always been based on, for me, when you go into a restaurant, you're recognized, right? There's a long wait, the host seats you anyway, right? The manager comes by, they say hello, they give you a free dessert at the table. And back in the day when I was growing up in the restaurant industry, the end-all, be-all of a loyal customer was the chef came out of the kitchen in chef whites and brought you an appetizer, right? Like you were like God at the table. Everyone looked around being, who's this special person? That's loyalty. That's the reward for being loyal somewhere. So I wanted a loyalty program. So we utilized the NFT as a way to create a membership program. So what we did is for $99, you get your own digital collectible. We call it a digital collectible. It's a unique randomized generated character that is yours to keep. And then with it, you get exclusive benefits that nobody else gets. You get 10% off every wowbao.com order. You get discounts at our merchandise store. You get double points on every order that you, so instead of it taking 4 orders to get $7, it takes 2 orders now to get $7. We call that our first course, our first minting, but we're restaurant people, so it's our first course. We have plans for a second course. And our second course we're going to do, which will be a little bit more expensive, a little bit cuter attributes to these characters that you can't get on the normal $99 plan. And we'll do triple points on the rewards so you can get your money faster. And what we thought was, what else can we do? And if you go back to the idea of the chef whites visiting your table, wouldn't it be amazing? My chef partner, by the way, Tim Hockett, has worked in very, very high-end restaurants to QSR. If you were at home cooking dinner tonight for your family and you got stuck or you're missing an ingredient or you had a question, then you could Zoom with Tim on making your dish at home. It's got nothing to do with Wow Bao, but you have access to a real chef. I don't know if people like the idea or not, but that's something that we're adding to that next level. So we partnered with Patronics to improve our rewards. We partnered with a company called Flaunt to do the back end for it. I know Devour's involved with this, and shout out to Shelly and team. We partnered with them for another delivery platform in the use of NFTs. And the goal, again, back in the day, right, the grand slam for me was putting CPG and Sunset Foods for my wife. The grand slam now that we're working towards is for the metaverse. And if you know anything about the metaverse, and trust me, I know nothing about the metaverse, but I have a 12-year-old who does Roblox and Fortnite and all that other stuff, and I'm sure he's going to want the $3,500 Apple VR one day. The idea of it is that you are playing in the space, And imagine you're in this area and you come across a vending machine, a Wow Bao vending machine, and you order food, and then magically the doorbell rings and food gets delivered to you because we have all these distribution points across the country. And you never have to leave your game. You never had to go to another website. You never had to go and pick up a phone. That's sort of where we're trying to get to. Long-winded answers.
Oh, these are great answers. And with that, one final question. You've got the magic crystal
it's
ball.
one final. I have to give you the standing slide. I was keeping the other one up there the whole time, so you saw the stuff we did. Now you can see what I look like on that side of the room.
You've innovated. You continue to look. You've got the crystal ball. What's the one thing that you're thinking about next?
Outside of that vending machine, the metaverse?
Yeah.
You know,
because you always got one coming, Geoff. You got one.
What we've done with Wow Bao is unintentionally, we've sort of made ourselves available wherever you are, where you play, where you work, where you eat, whatever it may be, we have made ourselves available to you. You know, what I tease my team about, we all have goals, right? My in-house PR person, I'm like, we got to be on the cover of the New York Times business section, right? We all have goals for every member of our team. What I've given to my business development team is 2 tasks. The first is I want to be on cruise ships. I think our food would be really good on cruise ships. I think that would be a great place for us. And I want to be in all the American Airline Admiral Clubs. I think that would be a great place for us to be. But when you ask what exactly is next, you know, I can't divulge everything. I can tell you that at this moment, we're in 350 grocery stores. On August 24th, we're going to be in 4,500 grocery stores. We have a big announcement coming out shortly, a big partner playing, and I expect to be more than that because, like I said, we're at the Cahey show at McCormick Place starting in the next 20 minutes.
Awesome. Well, we know your next 20 minutes, and it's probably going to take you 2 hours to get there.
Yes.
With that, can we say thank you to Geoff?
Thank you.